we have Reverend Barber, President of Repairs of Breach, and the co-chair for the Poor People's Campaign, as well as the leader of the state NAACP. And I think the church here, sorry, what's your name again? Pastor Leach. It is time for accountability and transparency to take place. We have the sheriff of this county, the elected sheriff of this county, blaming the DA and saying, hey, I can't release the video. The DA saying he can't release the video. It's out of my hand. The governor, the chief executive officer have asked for the release, Governor Roy Cooper. It is time for the release of this video so justice can be served. Accountability can be had. And what does that mean? What does justice mean? Justice means a arrest, prosecution, and a sentencing. Because if it's any one of us that have been accused of a criminal act, we wouldn't get the opportunity to sit and wait for an investigation to take place. They know what happened. Everybody, our witness accounts have told you that Mr. Brown was shot unarmed in the back by multiple officers. That we know. There was no weapon located at the scene. Thus, he was unarmed. Unjustifiable shooting. Unjustifiable shooting. Unjustifiable homicide. What we're calling now is for the video, the body camera, the footage, all cameras to be released immediately. This family have not been afforded the opportunity to see what happened. They can only speculate what others are saying. Rumors. That is not how it's done here. It is not how it should be done in this United States of America. Transparency should be had. And they wonder why there's no trust for law enforcement. They wonder why black folk don't trust the police. Well, you see it at hand. Because we don't know what happened. We don't know what happened to Mr. Brown. Besides our witnesses account, but they know what happened. And what happened, they know it's wrong. They know it's wrong. Like I said, alongside myself with Benjamin Crump, Kari Saris, we are here to represent this beautiful family, the children of Andrew. We're going to seek justice. We're going to get justice. That's right. We're not just going to seek it, we're going to find justice. That's right. Justice will come to the eastern shore of North Carolina, to the Outer Banks. It's coming. We see it over and over and over, time and time again. We got two pandemics going on, the corona and the killing of unlawful black men in America. And both of them need to end today. Today. With that being said, I'm going to bring up Reverend Barber. We will at one point have a Q&A for the press. Reverend Barber.
I want to ask the members of the clergy and the state president of the NAACP, who is also a clergy person, to come. And I want the media to look at the diversity of clergy, black and white, younger and older. Pastor of this church opened up. You have a AME Zion pastor and a United Methodist pastor in the South, in eastern North Carolina, standing here today with this family. I'm fresh back from Mississippi. I didn't even have a chance to go home and get into new clothes when I got the call from the counselor. Where did he go? Counselor Danielson. He called and said that some of the family was, and he was representing some of the children, asked would we come and be here today. I want you to understand it's hard to stand here and look at these babies. They should be on a playground somewhere, enjoying themselves with their friends, and not here once again in America talking about the unarmed killing of an unarmed Take your time. Take your time. An unarmed black man. This is Eastern North Carolina. This is the black belt of North Carolina. This is the North Carolina Delta, if you will. But it is also where my father and my mother organized black, white, and native people to build a multi-ethnic democracy. It's where I was raised, where I was born. And when you heard the counselor say what he said, you ought to hear that this is not new in Eastern North Carolina. My father, in the 1970s, was challenging the killing of unarmed black folk in Eastern North Carolina. This is where they raised me, and this is the community that laid hands on me and said, go out in the world and stand for justice, stand for truth. And I stand here today to mourn the loss of a child of God. I'm here as a pastor to stand with the mother, the aunts, the children, the family, represented by this attorney. And lest we forget, in our urgency to know what happened, it happened to a man. It happened to a father of 7. It happened to a cousin, to a nephew. He's not a caricature. He's a man.
That's right.
A young 42-year-old black man. Say his name.
Andrew Brown.
And we're here to stand in prayer, but we are not here to simply say, God called Andrew home from labor to rest. Now we, as people of faith, entrust Andrew to God, but we cannot use God to whitewash the fact that there must be accountability, and we must know all of what happened, and the tapes must be seen.
Yes.
America, here is the issue. A warrant is not a license to kill. Even if a suspect supposedly drives away. A warrant does not mean a person is guilty. A warrant is not permission to shoot someone, possibly with assault rifles multiple times. It is not the authorization to shoot someone in the back.
That's right.
And let's be clear. It doesn't matter if the officers are white or black, Amen. Or brown, Amen. Or men or women. If they engage in brutality, use excessive force, or abuse their power to murder citizens, officers of the law must be held accountable if the law is to mean anything for the rest of us.
That's right.
We must see the tapes. So we're here today to make some clear demands. This is not just what this family wants in all of their grief and what the community wants in all of its concern. This is what justice and truth demands. Release the tapes.
Release the tapes.
At least let the family see the tapes. Eyewitnesses have said Andrew was driving away from officers when they shot him. Now, the audio report said they had a suspect that was shot in the back. We need to see the tapes. North Carolina law does not prevent this. It may say that it's up to, or they don't have to, and we need to work on that in North Carolina. The General Assembly needs to pass immediately a law that says the body cameras are public records.
That's right. Amen.
If the audio is public record, then the video ought to be public record. Sheriff here, what's his name, Key? Must come clean. That's the local president of the NAACP. We grew up together, slept on the same floor sometime. Even in North Carolina, the law doesn't say the tapes aren't public record. The DA can let the family, let the attorneys see the tapes. Look how fast the tapes were shown even to the public in Columbus, Ohio.
That's right. That's right.
And that happened in these same United States of America.
There you go.
Now, the DA, the sheriff, they know what's on the tape. The family needs to know what's on the tape. They need to know what happened to Andrew. They need to know when it happened. They need to know why it happened, because all they know right now is he's dead. And he can no longer speak on this side of reality. The sheriff, the DA can tell the community the truth. And listen here, we got to be clear about this. The other officers, if you know the truth, you can tell it. Mm-hmm. This is no time to hide behind a wall of silence. To protect and serve this community in a moment like this, you must give people the truth about what happened. To the community and to the young folk and to the pastors and the protesters, young and old. White, and I want the media to keep showing this, white and black and brown and young and old and women and men and gay and straight in eastern North Carolina are marching. That's right. You didn't pay attention to that. This is the South.
That's right.
And you look at that crowd of young people out there. All of them saying, release the tapes. All of them saying, Black Lives Matter. White just as loud as black. Because people in America who have a heart and a humanity and a conscience are sick of this. Yes. Yes. This doesn't just impact the Brown family, so y'all stay vigilant but never violent. Stay vigilant. Yes. Like Dr. King said, confront injustice but confront it nonviolently. Amen. And confront it vigilantly. And this doesn't only affect black people. We need the truth, because no one is safe if the people we entrust to enforce the law abuse their power. A badge and a gun and a right to have a piece of paper and walk into somebody's house and take a loved one out of that house is too much power for a bigot. It's too much power for somebody that's quick on the trigger. It's too much power for somebody that doesn't know how to use proper restraint. A police person is the only person I know, Dr. Spearman, and I'm nonviolent, but he's the only person, she's the only person I know that can come to my house, knock on my door with nothing but a piece of paper, take my wife, take my child, take them downtown, and I say, baby, I'll see you when I get down there. He's the only one. He has too much power. Clergy in this city, black, white, and brown, should be united in calling for the release of these tapes, for the family to see the tapes and the truth about this case and about what happened. Say his name.
Andrew Brown.
If the shooting and the killing was self-defense or proper use of force, then show the truth. If it wasn't, show the truth. But sheriff, DA, law enforcement, you can't just shut up. You must speak up. And this is why you must do it now. And I'm going to close with these final comments. Last night I pulled an article, Counselor, that News One did in 2020. And it showed where 8 white violent criminals who had committed mass murder, and some of them resisted, all got arrested. They were all white. They all had killed somebody. Some of them had done mass killings. Some of them resisted, but they all got. Dalen Roof got arrested, who killed folk in AME church, and somebody said got a sandwich.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he murdered folk and left the scene. They didn't get shot. They didn't get choked. They didn't get beaten. They didn't or killed. But far too often, if you're black or brown, you can be unarmed and still be killed. Police persons are not on-the-spot executioners, judge and jury. Black people, just like everyone else, are innocent until proven guilty. And when we challenge and call for the truth and transparency, this is not hating police. It's what we hate are double standards, deplorable actions that end up in deadly consequences. We've seen too many lives lost in situations that began with air fresheners in rearview windows. or allegedly spending a fake $20 bill, or selling cigarettes on the street, or because a warrant is served. This is why the family are saying they must see the tapes so they know the truth. They can handle the truth, but they can't handle silence, and they can't handle injustice. So again, we're here to demand what justice demands.
That's right.
There must be full accountability under the law.
That's right.
Now, one last thing. Whatever those deputies saw and heard, I'm a pastor, so I need to say this, counselor. Whatever those deputies saw and heard, they've already confessed it. They told somebody, their wives, their girlfriends, their mamas. All of those men and women will have the local news on today while they're cooking and eating their dinner. And they need to be reminded, God already knows the truth. And they already know the truth. And the counselor has said to you, come here, counselor, that the truth will come out.
Yeah.
The truth will come out. Somebody just said one way or the other. And this is Eastern North Carolina. And I suspect before this is finished, we're going to need a federal investigation of pattern and practices. Not just in Pasquotank County, but in Eastern North Carolina. It's been too long. We ask the city, the state, the nation, and all those that know the words and the worth of prayer to pray for this family. Pray for this family. This grieves us. And I don't care what the color of your skin is, it ought to grieve you. Huh? From serving a warrant to shot in the back. We must see the tapes. Regardless of your color, your faith, or your creed, you know, in situations like this, only the truth can set us free. And if you know that, and you have humanity in you, then join us. Join this counselor. Join this family. Join those minor children. There's 5 minor children. Minors. Join us in demanding complete truth and full transparency. That's all we want. That's all we demand. Justice. That's all we've ever asked of America. Full and complete transparency and justice. The first principle of the Constitution, establish justice. Let me ask Dr. Spearman, State President, and Keith would stand beside him and have comments, and then the counselor will take over and bring up members of the family.
Thank you, Bishop Barber. The Chair of Repairs of the Breach, co-chair of Poor People's Campaign, and my predecessor in the State Conference of Branches, North Carolina NAACP. To this family, to the community, to the clergy, to this Pasquotank branch, president of the NAACP, to all of the organizers here in Pasquotank County, I say to you, stay together and keep it tight. We're grateful for the counsel that's coming in to assist in legal matters pertaining to Brother Andrew Brown. And before I go any further, because my heart is literally broken, I want to ask if the children, his children that are here,
That's right.
would stand.
Where those babies? 4 of them not here. 4 of them not here. Here's the mom. This is Mama.
Here's the mother.
Here's the mother.
She just came in.
Here's the mother.
That's one of the mothers.
It's like three mothers. It's
All
three
right,
of us.
all right,
That's
mother.
Khalil's oldest son.
Mother,
Right
you
there,
have
standing
4
up.
of them. Where's this?
My four of my youngest ones not here. One of them is right there.
These. Come on,
So that's
son.
the oldest one right there standing already. Yeah, that's Jameer.
This is his
But
son.
All
And
right.
that's Gerard right there. Yep.
Okay.
Brother Khalil.
All right.
Khalil,
Yeah.
Come on up, Khalil.
Come on up. My heart is broken because these children are left without a father,
That's right. That's right.
which happens too often times. The other day, when I learned of this travesty occurring here in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, I said and wrote in a statement that those of us who can make a difference are going to do all that we can to make sure that Elizabeth City, North Carolina, does not become another Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's why I say to you all, keep it tight and make sure that you move forward together peacefully. And I want to commend those of you who have been protesting, because from what I've seen, it has been peaceful. And I want you to know I've been working some behind the scenes, making contact as best I can with the DA and the sheriff. And none of them, neither of them, have returned my calls. However, I did reach out to the governor, and I demanded of the governor that he make a statement. So the state has spoken to ask for the tapes to be released.
That's right.
The state, the head of the state. So I don't understand why those who are in the jurisdictions will not release the tapes. One of the things that I will continue to do is to turn the heat up on them as much as I can to expose all of the decadence, the corruption, and the despotic tendencies that are happening in our communities. It should not be this way, because as Bishop Barber has said, we are human beings. And so, know that standing with you and the Pasquotank branch are the 120-some branches and college chapters, which represent more than 20,000 people across the state of North Carolina, are standing with you and will fight vigilantly for you. And we will be at your beck and your call. May God bless you.
Thank you.
Amen.
And heaven smile upon you.
Amen.
bring you greetings on behalf of the Pasquotank County branch of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. I am Keith Rivers, the president. To this family, our hearts go out. So today, we know that we want transparency because that brings trust. Trust that accountability to the officers that did the shooting, which means that justice will be done. So, Mr. Sheriff Wooten, on today, if you want to release these tapes as sheriff or as not the sheriff, on behalf of the Pasquotank County branch, We today are calling for his resignation. To all of the media here present, the letter will be released to you in the next 30 minutes. So, Sheriff Wooten, you've had the opportunity. The district attorney, you have the opportunity right now to get it together. We owe this. You owe this. You are elected officials.
That's right. That's right.
Make sure that my county and my city know there is a difference between the chief of police. He is hired. The district attorney and the sheriff are elected.
That's right. That's right.
And they have an obligation to us to let us see what is on those tapes. You have an obligation to this family. Let them know. So again, on behalf of the Pasquotank County branch, the leadership of Reverend Spearman, past leadership and continued leadership of Dr. Barber, let it be known today that we are demanding, and I said it wrong a few minutes ago, we are not requesting.
That's right.
We are demanding the resignation of Sheriff Wooten. Thank you, and you all know, my protesters, my community, you all are fabulous.
Yes, sir.
You all have stayed the course. We know that this is not a moment but a movement. We shut down bridges. We will continue to shut down bridges. We will continue to stand in front of businesses doing business hours because you need to be here too. This is your community
That's
too.
right.
These are our dollars that are being spent in your community.
That's right.
And we're going to continue to be peaceful in our protests. And I just want to take one last second, and I want to thank Chief Buffalo, the chief of the Elizabeth City Police Department.
That's right.
Let's give him a round of applause. Him and I talk 3 to 4 times a day about the safety of the protesters and the safety of the citizens, and we are continuing with the effort working together to ensure that justice is done. We love you. I love you. I know many of you, and we're going to continue to fight for justice.
That's right. That's right.
With all these killings going on, I never expected this to happen so close to home. Like, he left a close and tight family with each other every day, talking to each other every day. And we, my brothers, my sisters, we is what drove him as a person. We is what made him better. And now I gotta live every day, my newborn, without even getting a chance to meet him at all. And that's gonna hurt me every day. I just want justice. I just want justice.
We got you. We got you. We have some other family members of Drew who'd like to say something. I know we got some of his paternal aunts here, and you can stay in your seat and speak on his behalf and the family. You want to come up? All right, come on up. Introduce to who you are.
My name is Glenda Thomas, and I am Andrew's youngest aunt. Andrew was a good father to all of his children, and even the ones that were not his, he was good to them. He did anything and everything that they asked of him. And I know his children are going to miss him. We are all are going to miss Andrew. He did not deserve what was done to him. And we will get justice if it's just for the children or the family and this community. I expect that law in North Carolina to be changed in his name.
That's right. Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right.
So we will be working on that as a family, because my nephew did not deserve that. Justice, say his name.
Andrew Brown.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
At this time, we're going to open up for some questions from the media.
Jerry, and Linda, just
Introduce yourself.
Griff Jenkins, Fox News Channel.
Okay.
Glenda just mentioned she would like the law changed in Drew's name. I presume that's the law pertaining to the release of body cam
Yes.
video. If you could speak to what the family would like to see it changed and why it has been a problem thus far.
Well, why it's been a problem is why we need to change this, because we wouldn't have this issue today. It'd be a public record available for immediate release, and it would be held close to breast like it's been held now. So I think it's obvious that this is something that transparency need to move forward. Police officers are public officials, public officers. They get paid by taxpayers' dollars. Their acts should be able to be seen by the people who pay them.
That's right.
So we're demanding that law to be changed, and to be changed is his name, the Andrew Act.
My name is Jonah Kaplan. I'm a reporter with ABC in Raleigh. What has the nature of the communication been like between the Brown family and the Pasquotank Sheriff's Office? Is there no communication? Has there been a meeting in person, on the phone? What has that been? What has that communication been like?
Very limited communication. The family made an attempt to go speak with the sheriff. I think the district attorney was available as well. Some comments were made concerning they were not represented, so things were not told to them. Represented or not, they should have privity to what happened to their loved one. So the communication has been very limited, almost non-existent.
If I read the law correctly, someone with a likeness who could appear in the video or family of someone who was deceased in the video should have access to that video. What's the status of the family's pursuit of seeing that privately?
We are vigorously pursuing that. Vigorously. I make phone calls every day since this incident, and we are planning to see that immediately, as soon as possible, even today.
One of the things, members of the media, you should know, because some of you are not from North Carolina, is how ridiculous it is for this council to have this kind of struggle with the DA and the sheriff when the governor was the former attorney general. The governor was the former attorney general 2 terms. He's not just a governor. He's a southern governor that was a former attorney general, the top law enforcement. And he has said, based on the call from Dr. Spearman and Brother Rivers, myself, and others, he came out. That's what those of you who are not from here should understand. And on my brother's question, that bill is already being filed. So what is it, Keith?
510.
Senate Bill 510. There's no reason that the General Assembly in this state can't pass that bill and open up these body cameras to public record. There's no reason. The only reason would be they, too, don't want to know the truth.
I'm Laura Lee from Carolina Public Press. It's a follow-up to that question, which is, have they given any reason, they're not releasing the video, have they given any reason they're not even allowing the family to see it?
No reason as to why they're not allowing the family to see it. Obviously, given a reason, we got a continuous investigation, but the family should have privy to what happened to their loved one. So even the reason they've given is not legitimate, but the family should see this video immediately.
Have you been in touch with the Attorney General of North Carolina?
No, we have not, but we have channels who have been in touch with Attorney General. I have not been in touch personally.
Natasha Chen with CNN. I wanted to ask about the...
And let me stop for a second. Yes, a member of the legal team has been in contact with Attorney General. Yes, yes.
A couple of questions, one for you and one for his children, if they would like to say something. But as far as the family meeting with the sheriff the other day, how much can you tell us about what was shared with you regarding the incident itself, even if you didn't see the body cam footage at the time? And then for Mr. Brown's children, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the last time you spoke with your father and things that you would really like to ask and say.
Well, as it pertains to the meeting with the families, very limited information was shared with the family. Basically, the same information had been shared already to the media. So they basically was told the same things that they already knew before they walked in there. So nothing real new information was shared with the family. I think something was shared that there was no drugs or weapon involved, and that was reported as well. What's going on?
He's declining.
He don't want to speak at this time.
That's fine. Just to clarify, sorry, that the family was told no drugs or weapons were retrieved from the property or the car.
That's correct. Anybody else?
For Dr. Spearman, you talked about how, of course, you don't want to see Elizabeth City turn into another Minneapolis. We were speaking with the police chief earlier today and the city manager. They were concerned. They said, everything has been very peaceful this week, but the weekend allows for people not from here to come here. How concerned are you about a protest maybe being taken over by people not from here who may have their own agenda?
Well, Jonah, I think that the first few days of the protest have set a precedent and the stage for the world to know that those who are internal to Elizabeth City have been peacefully protesting. So if others come in over the weekend, and as President Rivers has said, they've closed off the bridge, they've done some other things to make sure that folk don't come in and sabotage what's going on. So I believe that, you would have to be Stevie Wonder not to see that the peaceful protest has been going on internally.
That concerns me. There's no history in this country where the Black Lives Matter movement, the civil rights movement, has been violent. There is plenty of history in this country where the law enforcement has been violent toward black people.
That's right.
Now, why would somebody raise that as a concern and you ain't more concerned about getting the tapes out?
That's right. Right.
Tell the story.
Right.
If some folk come and support, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about those who are saying it. That's another one of those red herrings that are thrown out in the South. They said when Dr. King came that he was stirring up trouble. Mm-hmm. All he was doing was stirring up justice. Huh? As far as that's concerned, I shouldn't be here. I'm from Goldsboro. I was raised in Plymouth, but this is my home area, Eastern North Carolina. That's not the issue.
That's right.
You wouldn't even probably have all of the protests if you released the tapes.
There it
You
is.
wouldn't have to worry if you released the tapes.
Right there.
If you tell the truth, that's the violence, not telling the truth.
Right there.
There you go.
And don't ever misunderstand, because that's another thing in the South. When Dr. King marched nonviolently, they said he wasn't being peaceful. They said he was stirring up trouble. When Fannie Lou Hamer marched, they said she wasn't being peaceful. That's an old semantic trick in the South to try to make the issue something else. Keith, if I'm not mistaken, a man is dead.
Yes, he is.
A 42-year-old man.
42.
Reported already by the authorities on the audio, shot in the back.
Shot in the back.
You ain't seen no tapes.
Ain't seen no tape.
Stop worrying about who's coming and worry about what you ought to be doing right now.
That's right. That's right.
And if other folk come from around the world, they will follow the lead of the local, but that's not the issue. The world should be speaking out because we're sick and tired of all of these deaths happening that don't have to happen. Release the tapes. That's the fundamental issue.
Thank you, Reverend Barber. Any other questions?
Reggie Ponder, the Daily Advance.
Yes, sir.
Do you have concerns also or questions about the decision to make use of SWAT in the processing or serving of this warrant?
Well, we're not familiar as whether the SWAT team was used at this point. That's one of the issues with transparency. Actually, you're the first person I heard say that. So we're not familiar with SWAT team used at this time.
Harry, can I take one more?
My name is Gerald Jackson with the North Carolina Independent Media. Other than a social media post, has the governor made any contact with local authorities such as the DA or the sheriff and demanded them over the phone or email to release the tapes?
I'm not privy to that if he has or have not.
Harry, just when you see the tape, if it shows deputies breaking the law, appearing to break the law. How much confidence do you have that those deputies will be held accountable?
You got to forgive me for laughing. History is a good indicator of what happened in the future. We are hopeful and we are prayerful that the district attorney would do his job, the oath that he took to uphold. But for us as a family, as a unit at large, you got to forgive us if we're not too excited about it.
And if that what we are confident of, if that comes back, that we will engage in every way legally, in every way in nonviolent protest, in every way on social media, in every way in our pulpits, in every way to demand that accountability is done and a measure of justice, because you can't ever have full justice if that happened because you took the person's life. But an accountability and a measure of justice will be seen. One thing about Eastern North Carolina, if I might be country for a minute, we grow our stuff deep. Yes. And we may not move as fast as everybody else moves, but when we decide to take root, we know how to stand. Remember, we've been here all our lives. We've been fighting all our lives. This is the South. This is Eastern North Carolina. This is where the country was changed, in the South. Yeah. And so we make a commitment. We are fully confident that we will not quit. And if that's the case, it will only intensify and embolden our nonviolent agitation until change comes.
Last thing for you, Bishop, does the Chauvin verdict give you some renewed confidence?
That's a verdict in the midst of a history that's overlaid with too many times. That's a verdict. So we're thankful for that verdict. But look at how hard it was to get it. Look at what had to happen. The AG had to take over. They had to call a prosecutor out of retirement. It took a 9-minute plus video. It took police turning on other police. It took fighting against a defense lawyer that should be charged with perjury, in my opinion, for the lies he told about George Floyd. So don't mistake. That was a hard fought battle in the North. This is the South. But don't ever underestimate the South, because we know how to stand. That's right.
The district attorney, when I did get an opportunity to speak to him, he did make the comment that he is a district attorney for the people and not the police. We're going to hold him to it.
That's right.
We're going to hold him to it.
And I apologize for being confused about this. Have you personally had a chance to see the tape?
No, I've not.
You have not? Okay.
I've not seen tape.
Sir, Mandela, already 13 News now. Earlier this morning, there was a press conference saying that Chief Buffalo has not seen the warrants. No one's seen the warrant. Have you guys requested to see the warrant yourselves? Have you seen it?
I've not seen the warrant. The legal team have not seen. The family have not seen it. Requests have been made. So no, it's complete darkness at this time. Any other questions? With that being said, we're going to end this press conference. Thank you all.
Could y'all be still until the family moves accordingly and make sure that they get out safely? The